Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Minecraft EXODIA episode 34. Today we're going to do some exciting redstone mini game, but before that there's something really important that I've been meaning to do for a really long time. Let's take a look. So this farm is a shulker farm. The reason why I needed the shulker farm is because for a very long time now my storage room is filling up really quickly, and in fact whenever I want to build something I need sugar boxes, and I do not have enough sugar boxes for the life of me. So I have decided this is it. We are finally going to build sugar farm so that I can get sugar boxes, so that I can gather resources using the sugar box. Coming out to the present day, by the way, this farm is done by the Alchemist. I might have butchered the name and probably mispronounced it, but I'll probably put the link down in the description below so that you guys can check it out. Now that I built the Shulker Farm, the only thing that I need to do now is to actually put the shulkers into the farm itself. And I figure instead of just doing it in the time-lapse, why don't I just do it on recording instead? And you can just see just how much I fumble. Well, we'll see about that because I have fully prepared with invisibility and some of this rail, and I just realized I do not have a minecart. If I don't have a minecart, I can bring it up there. Yeah, let's get some minecart. Okay, so before I can bring the shulker to up there, I need to build a track first, and in doing so, I also need to make sure when I deactivate the rail from the shulkers, they don't teleport anywhere else but the scaffolding up there. And yeah, let's hope for the best. Alright, the track has been built, and according to the videos, once I put up deactivate the rails up there, or activate the rail, whatever it was, the shulker should be able to teleport to this lever, but because there's some obstructions, it will automatically force itself into the scaffolding, and then in theory, everything should set to go. Now, let's drink some invisibility potions. We're gonna go get that shulker over there. Alright, finger crossed everything goes well. Hopefully this minecart would catch shulker. Nope, it didn't. Cool. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I was just doing that. Alright, take two. Let's go. Do it. It got it. Nice. Finger crossed. Everything goes well. Yay! Oh, the shulker is in the scaffolding. Now everything should set up and ready to go. Then before I start the farm, I better need to take down the track. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't want any shulkers spawning out of the tracks, you know. Alright, let me double check. Where is the shulker? It should be right up here. Yep, there you go. In theory, it should be fine now. But the only way to find out is to start with the farm. All we need to do is to flick this lever and then get in here. Why you not in me? There you go. There you go. It took a little bit of kickstart to get going, but it's finally duplicating the shulker box. You can just see, I keep saying shulker boxes. Why do I keep saying shulker boxes? Shulkers. You can see they just duplicated and they went gradually up towards this top part. And I assume once they start entity cramming, yeah, all the shulkers will drop at the centers. And down here, we got a hopper to collect all the shulkers here. And I think gradually you can see more and more shulkers are stacking on top of each other, and eventually, in some time soon, we should be able to start seeing them taking entity cramming. There you go, that's time to entity cram. And we're going to get shows. Nice. Alright, now we know that this farm is 100% working. I'm just gonna be here, AFK in this small little AFK chamber, and probably AFK about an hour and just see how much shulkers that we can get from this. I'll be right back. Alright, I am AFK here for an hour, and when I say I'm AFK here for an hour, I actually have been AFK for an hour. You can hear the dreading amount of noises behind of me. I haven't checked the amount of stars that we get from Shulkers here, so we'll see. We'll see just how much you get. You know what? That's pretty good. That's almost nearly 2 stacks in an hour. That's pretty good. You know what? I think we are all set to go when it comes to shulkers. I probably will be AFK here a bit longer just so I can accumulate in more than enough that I don't have to come back to AFK here anymore. But let's just take about 2 stacks because that's about all I needed for my projects, and let's just get off this hellhole because it's just too loud. I also need to take a screenshot of this so that I don't lose sight of this place in the future. So without further ado, I think I'm ready to head back home now. It would be nice if I can find the portal nearby. There you go. And back home we go. Oops. There'll be Enderman. I didn't mean to do that. Ugh. There you go. Alright, with 53 sugar shells, I would make a few more sugar boxes for me and another 8 in here. Now, on the next step of this episode, we are going to do some minigame designing, but there is some resource gathering that we need to do first because the redstone that I'm about to embark on will require a lot, and I mean a lot of redstone mechanic resources, and just this one redstone box alone isn't going to cut it. I'm definitely going to need to gather as many redstone resources as possible so that I can build that large silent escape that we've been talking about for the past few episodes. And in between the episodes, I have been doing some redstone mining, and you can see that I gather a lot of deep slate redstone ore, and I'm pretty sure there is even more inside my old base over there in that small house. So I'm gonna fortune all of this deep slate redstone. I'm probably going to keep at least one redstone ore just in case if I ever want to use it as its redstone by itself. But yeah, I'm going to fortune all of them, and then I'm trying to build as many observer, dispenser, dropper, and any other redstone. Yeah, it's going to be a grinding task, but it has to be done. 5 stack and 2. Surely that's gonna be enough, right? Building redstone for a long time now, I know for a fact that 5 stacks alone is not gonna cut it. With a redstone that I need to build, it's definitely going to run out really quickly, especially given the fact that I still haven't crafted any sticky piston or that yet. Yeah. I haven't gonna need to get even more than this. After some time crafting all the redstone mechanics, I think this is the extent that I can do for now before I run out all of the redstone blocks. So I didn't even reach the point where I needed the other 3 sugar boxes here. However, I suppose this is a good start for just a little bit tiny amount of component that I'm going to do later on. And then in terms of rails, minecart, and slime block, yeah, I got a pretty decent good amount of stacks upon them. Maybe I do need to get some honey block, but I'm not sure whether I'm gonna need them yet, so I'm gonna leave that be for now. If I do need the honey block, I can always get it from that beehive over there. But yeah, I think why don't we just pack everything up that we got here and we go to the minigame districts. Alright, the first phase of the redstone is now completed. Let me try to explain it while showing to you. And so to start things off, in order to start the game, we need to have a redstone that basically is like a motherboard that runs the entire heart of the game itself. And so we have the difficulty. This is going to be the difficulty settings. From the left to right, it's going to be normal, medium, and hard. And you're going to need to acquire some item in order to be able to increase your difficulty for each time the game is played. But if you don't put any difficulties item in here, the game will default itself into easy mode, which is the base most default difficulty the game will set itself to. And the point of this difficulty is so that you see, if I go down here right now, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in the last previous episode. So basically, you're crafting and items. And it could be 1 to 4 depending on the difficulty, the easiest being the 1 items. Now if you're going for the most hardest difficulties, you're crafting all 4 different items at once. Hence the difficulty settings there. I'm going to explain how you get the item later on and what all of this as well, but for now let's just try to move on the next thing, which is how to start the games. So once you set your difficulties, you press the button to start the games. The game will automatically tell the system, hey, I'm reading that this is an easy difficulty, and so it will run through a green line down in this segment here. And as you can see, I went to a color coding stage, so it's easy for me to read which part of the redstone line is running. So when the green line is running, it will go all the way down into this first module here. And as you may have noticed, there are 4 different modules, or each of them indicate the difficulties levels. When the easy difficulty is triggered, only this module will activate, hence it will trigger this system here, which is the randomizer. If I tear this open right now, you can see this is how it basically looks like. There's going to be some sugar boxes in these 2 dropper and dispenser, and each of them is going to have each sugar box is going to have their own signal strength for the redstone. Hence the reason why we have 15 signal strength of length, 15 torches, and 15 droppers, which is also the reason why we needed the Shulker Farm in this episode. So for example, let's say the dispenser shoots out a signal strength of 5. Compared to detect there's only 5 signal strength, which it will reach somewhere around this part. So it will activate this 4. However, I couldn't really explain this because this is not my redstone, but basically it will do it in a way that only 1 redstone torches will activate here. And once it did that, the observer and the dropper detects the redstone torch activate, and then it will just drop an item out. And this water funnel will go all the way down into the tube down below here. The second tube up there is going to be the same as the one below, except one is an item and another one is a paper. The paper would basically rename based on what item it is. Like for example, let's say a redstone block, and then there's going to be a paper that says redstone block. The paper will send down to the top layer of the water tube. It gets sent straight out into the outside area where player will be able to acquire the paper. And this is a way to let them know that in case if they ever forgotten the item they're supposed to craft, the paper that will be in their inventory will let them know that hey, you are reminded that you need to craft redstone block. Don't forget that. That's going to be a good reminder using the paper. Another thing that you might notice now is there's going to be another redstone line that comes down here and into a more in-depth layer. This is basically going to be once the item that drops down into the tube itself, after a while there's ether hopper clock there that will run. Once it runs about, let's say, a minute, it will trigger, and then all the items that land on top of here, the piston will opens up, let the item drops in here and down into the sorting machinery. So let's say if I put polished deep slate here as a crafting materials, if the player submit an item through here, then you can see once the item goes down here, 2 of those items will get sucked down into the hopper and then trigger a system here. And when it get triggers, there's going to be a shovel, which I probably forgotten to put in here, I think. Nope, it just got stuck down there, dang it. It was supposed to go here, which will activate the comparator and go through the line of repeater and redstone that go all the way down to here, which will block off the entrance for escape. This is the escape route for the entire game. Once the player submits the item and it went through the items, and if it succeeds, then this, in theory, will get taken out and then deactivate, which will allow the player to escape, and this will open up for them and they can jump down there, and then there will be a wind burst that shoots them all the way out to the top. If the player is playing the hardest difficulties, which means they need to clear all 4 wooden shovels in this dropper in order to escape the silent escape minigames. All 4 of these comparators will activate, and for each player submitted an item into the hopper, it will put the item back into the top dropper itself and remove the comparator signal. Now you got 3 more to go, and clearing out all of them will unpower the entire redstone line. And once the game started and this player dropped down into this area, the game will show what item that you need to craft and a paper for you as a reminder, and then you can basically start phase 2, which is actually playing the game. Which means right now I need to put in all the scout sensors down below this entire area. Well, maybe not all the places, because I only want the scout sensors to affect this general deep slate area. Anything outside of the POI, which is point of interest, like the barn, the paradise, the cave, the mineshaft, and the forest, will not get affected, will not get added with the scout sensors. Only this entire middle sections area will get affected. And the reason for that is Wardens is going to be patrolling this center area and not anywhere else outside of that areas. So since the previous clip, there's going to be a huge jump to what you're going to see here in a moment. There's probably going to be a lot of explanations that I need to do. But first thing first, what I want to tell you guys is I realized as I was doing the time-lapse is, I think the timeline is pretty much worthless if you guys can't even understand what is exactly the purpose of each of these redstone mechanics. I'm just going to show you on camera as I'm going to explain them on camera. Now for the record, I did in fact record a session of me explain the redstone to you guys, but that failed miserably because I explained really poorly. I keep stuttering. I have no idea what I was talking about, even as I'm just confused myself when I try to listen to myself explaining redstone to you guys. So instead of trying it again, I'm just gonna try to explain redstone in the most caveman language as possible, starting with this. This is game difficulty: green, yellow, orange, red. Green easy, yellow normal, orange medium, red hard. When game start, if game is easy, game will trigger this green line all the way down here. It will trigger 2 pulses into this dropper and send 2 sticks into this dropper. After 2 sticks sent into this dropper, comparator detects something, then send a signal to this machine over here. This machine then activates a dropper with an item and send an item into a pressure plate. The pressure plate is going to push the piston down, and the observer detects the actions, send a signal to this dropper, and send a dropper stick back to this dropper stick. When an item stands still on a surface, it will leave It will last for about 5 minutes before despawning, and once the 5-minute despawn time is over, if there is still another stick in here, comparator will send another signal into this machine, and then another 5 minutes will start again. Hence in total in 10 minutes for easy mode. Now if the difficulties increases, normal difficulty 15 minutes, medium difficulties 20 minutes, hard difficulties total of 25 minutes. But what does this machine do, you may ask? Well, after 10 minutes or 20 minutes is over, these redstone torches will disable. Hence, all of the sensors will retract, allowing the sensor to receive signal from all over the places. It's basically like a spider web. When you make signal from around here, it will send a vibration to this sensor, to this sensor, to that sensor, this sensor, and so on and so forth. But that's only if the time is running out. What happens if you play inside the game instead? Well, if you make a lot of noises just running around on the surface, the sensor will still detect your movement and send the vibrations to this randomizer. This randomizer has 1 in 9 chance of activating a signal strength of 2 or 3. And when that happens, it will send a repeater through the other sensor, disabling the other sensor piston. As you can see, if I make too much noises now, there's a good chance that any of the piston around here will detract. Now if the game is over and you want to reset the game, reset only if all players die, then you click this button, it will send a signal down to this gray wool, all the way down into this line. And this line will branches off into multiple sections. One of them is going to reset the hoppers, the hopper item sorter system. And the other one will reset all the sensors and back to its normal state. Another one is going to reset this dropper timer system. And there's also another one somewhere else that reset the other stuff entirely, but let's not get into that. You may have also noticed there are a lot of improvement and changes to the surface of the floor. That's because bats apparently can spawn in any of the deep slate natural cave blocks as long as the light level is lower than 3. So I realized that bats can be a nuisance to the game itself. So in order to prevent that, I have to replace every natural blocks and replace them with something else to prevent the bat from spawning and making too much noises and enabling the sensors. Because that would be really unfair if that ever happens. However, despite knowing that, there are still some places where the bat can still spawn, like for example here in this general area where the bat can spawn. If that ever happens, I think I'm going to set a rule where you guys can kill the bat if necessary. Otherwise, you can strategically use the bat as a distraction for the wardens. There are other places where, for example here, the bat can definitely spawn, but because there is no sensor underneath here, it should be fine. As long as the bat doesn't come all the way close to the sensor areas. Oh, and before I forget, I added some feature in this game that I need to explain while I'm still here. For example, above me, there is an enchanting table, and you may notice there is a sand on top of the enchanting table. Basically, if you trade 1 nugget, you can get yourself 1 sand. And where do you get nuggets? Well, you can either acquire nugget through trading other area that gives you the nugget. For example, here, trade 4 seed equals you get 1 nugget, and you can use the nugget as a currency to buy other stuff. There are other ways for you to get nugget. Now, anywhere in this area, you may have noticed there are chests. These chests contain all the snowballs, and there are nuggets in here, they have a chance to dispense snowball or nugget. Nugget has a 1 in the 9 chance of dispensing somewhere in this general area, and they are scattered all across this central area, including somewhere outside of the area as well. You can see there's one over here above this area, another one over here somewhere around the forest, and then there are a few others that is somewhere along the cave mineshaft areas. Now the first thing I want to show you is over here. There isn't much redstone going on. You can see I already put down some sugarcane and they are all fully grown since the time that I placed them. Apart from that, if you want to get cobblestone, you have to acquire some lava somewhere else's and then place the lava on the streamline. And when the lava spreads out, it will generate cobblestone, and you're gonna need to have a pickaxe to mine them. At the time, I wasn't sure whether I want to leave the sign like this or I want to leave it, break this sign off and let the player figure it out. But I'm also worried that players might figure other method out and put somewhere where they shouldn't be. So for the time being, I'm just gonna put it like this, and hopefully people will try to respect the rules and the guide here. What else we will see? Because I have invited a few people to play the prototype of Silent Escape, and apparently I found a lot of things that they could potentially exploit the games, which is why I need to be very careful when designing games. I need to set up rules that they cannot destroy or break. Now, I'm not gonna show you guys everything that I've done in this area, but I'm just gonna show you something that's important. So as usual, this is the barn area, and eventually there's going to be more content in the future that involves in this general area. But if you ever need wheat or carrot or pumpkin, this is the location where you can acquire them. And of course, I have brought down the cows and the sheep. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these two, because in order for you to get leather, there are other ways to get it. Like over here, there is an enchanting table that trades for wheat for 1 leather, because I don't want people to kill the animals and then basically make them extinct, because I know for a fact they're not going to breed the cows. As for the sheep though, all they can do is just basically eat the grass and grow the walls, and the walls are basically needed for paintings. What I am concerned, however, is why this ship isn't regenerating full after a long period of time being here. But I am figuring out the reason why, because probably the light level isn't bright enough for them, for the grass to generate, and for the ship to generate walls. There you go. It's not pretty to have a bright light in the barn, but it is what it is, and also to make the game work. Hopefully this ship will grow the wool back. Moving on to that, I want to show you the nether sections, because down here I done something really interesting. One might wonder, how am I going to get blaze shot or soul sand or soul soil or gold and quartz? Well, first thing first, I'm going to show you how to get soul soil. Well, it's easy. All you ever need to do is to play some music. Once you play music enough of times, they will have a chance to give you soul sand. There you go. You may have heard the clicking noises, but I think I forgot to put any soul sand down here. I might need to go with you though. Oops. What about blaze shot? How do we get blaze shot? All you ever need to do is to click this button, and when you did, 3 blaze rod will drop on the wall. But you may have noticed, I can't get over there. There's no way for me to get over there. If you can go there, but you still can't acquire the blaze rod. That might give you some strategy or some ideas. If I can't get over there, I might as well just fishing hook to get it to me. Think about it. But what about gold? How do I get gold and how do I get quartz? Well, you're gonna need to parkour around these areas, and you might come across these note blocks. You're gonna need to click these note blocks, and then they will basically drop gold for you. And just to show you guys, what you guys need to do, once you click the no block, it will push the piston up and then send a signal through this line there. But why the piston, you ask? Because I don't want people to constantly spam the no block to keep getting more golds. I want them to only be able to place it once and then they have to move on. I did intend it in a way that this can be reset through the armor stat. So after a certain period of time, the piston will push it down, as you can see right there, and allow you for you to activate this thing again. But you're gonna have to wait for some time because there is a cooldown and the cooldown is randomized. But if you do manage to activate it, it will send the line all the way up to this line here where there is a dropper. This dropper contains gold, and then it will send all the golds into this minecart. And then there's going to be a redstone, which I forgot to put on, that will send the minecart all the way back up into this area. And if you recognize this area, yeah, this is the mineshaft area. So if you want to get the gold, you have to first send the minecart down there. Now for the record, you can't follow it down. There's going to be a blockade. So you have to force yourself all the way into the nether sections. The nether section here. Come all the way down. Click the no block here and there to acquire the amount of gold that you needed. And then go all the way back to the mineshaft area, summon the minecart back to get the gold. It's quite tedious, yes, I know, but I don't want to make the game too easy for you guys. Like, resource gathering is supposed to be, well, not too difficult, but also not too easy to acquire. Hence the reason why you may also notice above us there is not a lot of bamboo around. Because as you may have known, bamboo is very easy to acquire, to mass accumulate. But I specifically put in a certain position where they can grow too tall and you can acquire too much. And those aren't the only bamboo around. There is literally scattered across, and some of them are in fact pretty tall, that you should be able to acquire more than enough for your crafting needs. Now, I do have to warn all the players not to break the bottom sections of the bamboo, because if you do, then you basically make the game pretty inconvenient for other people who are going to play the game itself as well. Make sure to replan it if you're ever going to do that. But if you want to get quartz, it's right up there. Eventually, I'm going to put some items frames to indicate what these node blocks and these target blocks do. But yeah, up there is where you have to push the button to get quartz. But how do you do that? It's all the way up there. It's not like you can shoot the snowball and snowball will hit the button. In fact, you can't even do that. Eventually, I am going to put wind charge into the dropper up there, and you have to find the wind charge, come down here and then shoot the wind charge up there where the target block is. There will dispense all the quartz from here, send it all the way down into the same line. So that's about the barn sections. Now moving on to the cave, the mineshaft section, which is the most heaviest sections that I've ever redstone, well, at least for the most part. I did it in a way where gathering ore isn't going to be as easy as just mining around or just, you know, clicking button and then dispenser shoots out the item that you need. What you're gonna need to do, for example, you notice there is a dispenser. This is a coal mine. You click a button and then this is a minecart chest. What you need to do is you need to put certain amount of resources into the minecart chest and then you push it. Now depending on the area of the mine itself, sometimes you're gonna need to do a little bit of effort to push the minecart around, and then once the minecart has reached its destinations, it will dispense the coal for you, and that's how you get the ores. And it's pretty much same for every other mine, except their puzzle will be different depending on their mines. For example, this is an iron mine. Now for the iron mine, you're gonna need to dispense the chest as usual, but there's going to be a cactus. So if you didn't press the button quick enough before the minecart reaches here, it will direct its attentions into this cactus and break, and then you have to start over again. But if you manage to click it in time, then you can send all the way, click this button all the way into here, which will give you the raw iron, by the way, because you're gonna need to smelt it at some point. Yeah, I'm not gonna show you everything that I put over here, but I do want to show you where to get the diamond. So this is the diamond mine. You need to go all the way up to this section where you're gonna meet up with the bridge. Now over here, you might meet yourself a cliff, a dead end with nowhere else to go. But that's because there is actually a way. You have to actually get across this bridge over here, this pole. Parkour over here. And then, yeah, basically you need to do some parkouring. Parkour, hit. And then you get to this staircase. And once you reach over here, and then you come across this treacherous bridge that seems to break. Now, you have noticed that there is a powder stone in front of you. This is a powder stone parkour, but then you realize, well, how am I going to get a ladder? Well, you can either get ladder from the barn over there, or there is actually a secret somewhere around here that might allow you to get ladder put really quickly. If you can notice it really quickly. Oh, no, you can see nothing now. Yeah, this is the enchanting table that allows you to get trade string for 1 nugget. Once again, there isn't much changes happening on the forest itself, because I don't think there's anything redstone needed for the forest, since most of the resources are already available here. Now, I don't believe I missed anything apart from a few things I need to fix before we actually start playtesting this game. Apart from this crafter. Now, reminder to you guys all that we are not using the normal ordinary crafting table. This is a crafter for a reason, because once you put an item in here, there's no way for you to extract the item out apart from just pressing this button. And once you press this button, you have to wait at least 5 seconds for the item to dispense. You might have noticed there is the sound over here that says crafter failed crafting. Let me play this again. Look at the bottom right. The subtitle says crafter fails crafting, means it's worked. But yeah, you have to wait a few seconds. And this is intentional because I don't want people to be able to instantly acquire the items the second they put the crafter in. Because I do want to balance it out, give the warden a bit of time to be able to catch up to you. And I also don't want people to be able to craft so many things within a short amount of time. So this is the part of a balancing process for Silent Escape. Apart from that, yeah, I think that's about it. Once you manage to craft the items, submit to the board, which I forgot where to submit the board. I need to add it in. Once you did that, submit the correct items, then you are able to escape through this pipe. And then you'll be able to launch all the way up. There's a wind burst down there. You land down here, wind burst will blast you all the way up in here, where there's going to be a piston with soul sand that all of this on water bubble column all the way up to the top, hence finishing the entire game itself. Okay, so I did all of the clean up. In theory, everything should be as it is. I think I'm at the stage now where I can finally do my first ever playtest in this minigame, and I honestly, not gonna lie, I am a bit nervous because there's a good chance that the redstone might not even work as intended, and I'm afraid to find out. But playtest is a playtest. Playtest means something is bound to happen, something bound to change. So, let's just give it a try, you know? What could ever happen? What could ever go wrong? Surely nothing. Except Things might get dangerous if it's nighttime once I'm done with this game. Who knows? Alright. There goes nothing. I got nothing in my inventory. Since I don't have whatever required to increase the difficulties, we'll be locked in easy difficulties. So, finger crossed, everything will go well. Let's just bam. Okay, hopefully everything should work. Wee! Surely? Okay, target block. And also, finger crossed, I'm able to get the paper that tell me that I need to craft the target block. It seems like it did not work. Why? It's supposed to dispense a paper that says target block. Why did you do that? I need to figure that out out, but it's okay. I know it's target block, so now I need to go get target block. Okay, so I'm just gonna pretend the warden's here and the sensor is gonna be able to hear me. And hopefully the item that's supposed to drop the snowball should also work as well. I think the first thing I need to do is gather wood. So let me quickly go do that. By the way, to remind everybody, the carpet here, you can actually jump without making too much noises. Ooh? Ooh? Wait, why is wind shut dispense? That's weird. Oop, not made a noise. Ah. See, this is what I mean. One slight noise you make is going to trigger the sensor. But I think we should be fine to walk here now. Okay, oh, this is exciting. We're actually doing the first ever playtest. Ooh. Hopefully, again, like I said, everything should work. Wow, that one did not drop a single saplings. Courtesy of the forest or the game, make sure to replan when you play the games. Okay, just trying to remember what I need to do. So I need target blocks. Means I need to get redstone and I need hay bales. Yeah, so what I can do is first thing first, convert all of the wood into planks. Alright. Put this here. And then crafty craft. Gimme! Yay! Now you can imagine if the warden's here, you can't stay here forever and this will take some time to craft the item. I might even increase duration depending on game balance. Okay, I got all the sticks I need. Now I need to go get some redstones. I believe to make the target blow, I only need 4 redstone dust. Alright. So this is the redstone mines. You can see the minecart right over here. On the minecart, I don't know why it did a spell. I need to check the crafter. Okay, so the amount that you want is based on the amount of resources that you put in here. So 4 is all I need. Now all I need to do is to push the minecart. And you can see it gets stuck over here. So what I need to do is, I think, press this. Yep, there you go. And now it gets stuck here. You can either push it, or what you could do is, you see this redstone all over here, interact this one, and then there's another one over here at the distance, and then the minecart should work on its own. There you go. And I should get 4. 5. If the minecart also included into the hopper instead of getting destroyed by the cactus, so I'm lucky over there, but I don't even need 5 of them, but it's fine. It's fine. Have a little extra, it's fine. You know, measure good luck. Now see, if I'm hungry, I could try to go to the barn and make myself food, but it does mean that I need to get some wheat and carrot. But I do need wheat for the target block, so I need to conserve the amount of wheat that I use. Now the direction of the barn is ahead this route. And I just made another noise. Now, I'm not entirely sure just how many wardens I'm gonna put in here yet. I initially thought maybe one is enough, but again, when it comes to game balancing, there's a chance two might be more chaotic in the gameplay, so who knows? Who knows? Now this is evil. I just realized I am bound to make a noises if I go there, but can I go here? I can. Whoa, now that's I like. Can I go back here as well? Yeah, okay, alright. Strategy game. Ooh. Make noises. I think I'm bound to make noises. I need to put carpet here. Oop. Okay. Yeah, I need to make put carpet over there, otherwise I'm bound to make noises. What I have realized though, I still yet to see anything dispense from the snowball, so I'm kinda worried that might not even working. Or either that, I didn't even put any wire in. There's a good chance that was the latter. Yep, I did not activate. Okay. I need to fix that later on. I think I'm fine to move around here now. Okay. You need 9 to make a hay bale, right? I'm short of 1. But luckily, I have this, the composter. You can use the composter for a chance to get bone meal. If only I get enough. Can I bone meal pumpkin? I mean, can I compose pumpkin? I can, alright. I'm gonna try to be smart here. Since I'm not using any pumpkin anytime soon or the carrot, I'm just gonna try to compose them. And if you're lucky or smart enough to gather enough saplings, more than enough saplings, you can also compose that for the bone meal as well. But since I'm not doing that, I'm a little bit cool. Now that I'm stuck like this waiting for another wheat to grow, I'm basically here just doing nothing. Yeah. This is one of the game balance that I need to figure it out. Just trying to see what I basically need to do to prevent people from AFKing from one places and basically doing absolutely nothing. That's what I want to avoid from this game. And that's the thing as well. The more time I spend in this cave, the more time I'm wasting, and all of the sensors could very likely be all open by now. All the network is unleashed, because in easy mode you only get about 10 minutes before all of the sensors are unleashed, and you can stay longer. Don't get me wrong, you can stay longer, but the thing is, one wrong move, you make a sound, and it's going to transfer your sound to all of the network of the sensor, and wardens from anywhere can hear you. After 10 minutes, basically you just have to be very careful not to make a single noises, because if you do, yeah, it's not gonna bode well for you. Now, in addition to this, there's also one more thing that you guys need to remember. Warden isn't the only thing that's going to spawn in this game. Sometimes there is a good chance somewhere around here or other area there will be creaking that spawn. Not sure if I ever put one here somewhere. I'm pretty sure I did last time. Yeah, creaking, we're able to spawn around here. Means the whole time you're gonna need to try to stop your creaking from ever hurting you. Because if you did, you're going to lose heart, you're gonna get hungry, and it's going to probably ruin your run. Well, I guess I'm gonna be here for a while, just waiting for this one week to grow. Yeah, such is the game and playtesting. There you go, that didn't take too long, and now I got enough wheat to get what I needed. Again, the reason I didn't want to make such a big field is so that I can prevent people from being able to acquire or monopolize. Is that the word? Monopolize the food industry so that they can constantly refill the hunger in their heart. Now all I need to do is to go back to the crafting bench and craft the target block. Game make a noise. What I am concerned about the pressure plate, by the way, is warden that patrol around this area, they can also trigger the pressure plate. And they themselves are actually stupid because they can listen to their own vibrations. So if the warden hit any of the pressure plate, instead of prioritize on the players, they will just get distracted on the pressure plate. And I want to hope that warden prioritize player more than the pressure plate instead. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to try to change the game with the pressure plate with something else. Right, time for me to do some crafting, get the hay bale, and then finally I can get the target block. Now, you may have noticed something interesting. There is no green book over here, because normally you have this green recipe book. But if you don't have that, well, you're gonna have to try to remember the crafting recipe yourself. Or you can try to prepare before you start the game. Alright, there you go. I got the target block, and all I need to do is to submit it. Now, I hope the rest of this is gonna go well. And I especially hope this entire thing will work. If it doesn't, I'm basically going to be trapped here. And that wouldn't be fun. You hear the amethyst? I think the amethyst is going on the loop with the sensors. It means 10 minutes is already up. And all this network is opened. So I gotta be really careful not to make a noise. But of course, since the water isn't here, it doesn't really matter. But if the water is here, then yeah. Alright, I'm back at this area. I should be safe to walk now. Alright, submit this. And then hopefully, finger crossed, the entrance should be open. I should check whether it's closed or not when the game started. Okay, it's open. I just hope, in theory, that the game works, because I forgot to check this part actually. You know what, since there's no water here, I'm just gonna run all the way through to the entrance. I mean the exit. So yeah, finger crossed, there should work. Jump down here. And no bound elevator. It's fine, because I'm making it up here. And well, this is awkward. Looks like I gotta do this now. Well, the good news is, for the most part, it's working. Alright, finally out. Yeesh, alright. So the thing is, I did technically forget one very important thing, because once you escape, there should be an observer that reset the game itself. This thing here is supposed to do that job, but currently it's not really linked at anything. So I have to reset the game manually, because you're supposed to press this if you die in the game and you lose, but I forgot that, so I'm just gonna do this and hopefully that's not gonna break anything. Well, all in all, I can confidently say that this first playtesting is worked out surprisingly better than I thought. Of course, I did forget to wire some of the redstone that was supposed to do, like the snowball and the nugget. We haven't even touched any of most of the content that I put in the redstone for today. But I'm going to. This isn't the final completions of the redstone, by the way. You can see behind me there's still so much that I need to do when it comes to redstone. So this is what I'll say to you guys. I will be doing most of this redstone during live stream, and I might include some of this during the episode so that you guys can get up and touch about the updates on these mini games. But for the most part, I will do this on the live stream, and you guys, if you guys are interested and want to help out, you guys can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/WhiteWingCat, and yeah, help me out, help me make this game better. But yeah, at some point, I also give you guys the opportunity to playtest this game and see what kind of other feedback that I can get. But for the time being, that is it for this redstone. I would like to do another playtest, but there is something important that I need to do after this, so I'm just gonna end this episode here. And maybe who knows, next episode, maybe we'll get in touch with some of the exteriors and interiors of these Silent buildings. Yeah, that sounds pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, with that said, that's about it for this episode. Thank you so much for you guys watching. This is a very restaurant heavy episode, by the way. I hope you guys like it though, if regardless. And with that said, if you guys like the video, make sure to like and subscribe this channel. And if you don't, that's fine. That's completely fine with me. I don't care about viewers. I only care about your support. That's about it. Without further ado, I'll see you guys with another episode of EXODIA. See ya. Bye bye. Sticky landing.